Mastering Negotiation. Lessons from the book, Getting to Yes. William Ury and Roger Fisher, founders of the Harvard Negotiation Project, are the authors of the book, Getting to Yes. I recently read it and want to share with you some key lessons I learned. According to the book, negotiation isn't about splitting things 50-50ths, insisting on being right, or imposing my way or your way. It's not even about winning or losing. In fact, if you're asking, who's winning? You've already lost. So, what does negotiation truly mean? Let me share some examples to make it clear. Imagine two men arguing in a library. One wants the window open for fresh air, while the other wants it closed to keep his papers from blowing away. What's the solution? Leaving it slightly open? No. The librarian listens to both sides and then opens a window in another room, letting in fresh air without disturbing the papers. The result? Both are satisfied. Here's another example. Two people want to share a cake, but can't agree on how to divide it fairly. Every cut seems unfair to one or the other. How do you solve this? You ask one person to cut the cake and the other to choose first. Knowing the other person will pick first, the cutter ensures the pieces are perfectly equal. One last example. Two children argue over an orange. The parent cuts it in half and gives each child one part. However, one child eats the fruit and throws away the peel, while the other uses the peel for baking and discards the fruit. If the parent had asked why each child wanted the orange, both could have gotten 100% of what they needed. These examples demonstrate that negotiation is about finding solutions that satisfy both parties while preserving relationships. The library story illustrates a common mistake, focusing on positions instead of interests. Positions are what a person explicitly demands, while interests are the underlying reasons behind those demands. For example, opening the window and keeping it closed are opposing positions, but the interests, fresh air and undisturbed papers, can both be satisfied. How do you uncover interests? Ask why and try to understand the other person's perspective. Once interests are clear, discuss them openly. Don't forget to communicate your own interests, as the other party may not know them. Then, turn your interests into actionable options by asking yourself, if they agreed with me tomorrow, what would I want them to do? Even when interests are understood, conflicts are inevitable. Suppose you want lower rent, but the landlord wants to raise it. Instead of arguing endlessly, use objective criteria like market rates or legal regulations to decide. Returning to the cake example, asking one person to cut and the other to choose is a fair standard that leads to an equitable outcome. Before negotiating, identify fair standards together. For example, you want a high price and I want a low one. How can we determine a fair price? Let's use market standards. Shifting the focus from personal desires to objective rules turns a conflict into a shared goal. Creativity is essential for finding solutions that satisfy both parties. In the orange example, if the children had expressed their needs, they could have achieved 100% satisfaction. How do you invent creative solutions? Gather the other party and brainstorm without judging ideas. Create an informal atmosphere, define a clear purpose, and invite diverse perspectives. After brainstorming, focus on the most promising ideas and refine them. Remember, differences are not a problem, but a resource. It's often because of differing needs that innovative solutions, like the orange scenario, become possible. Before negotiating, imagine a vertical line dividing a person into two parts. On one side is the person, and on the other is the problem. Always treat the person with kindness and the problem with firmness. For instance, if a contractor proposes 2-foot foundations for a house, but you think 5 feet is standard, don't accuse them. Instead, ask, what are the government specifications for this soil type? Building relationships before negotiations helps too. Arrive early to chat or stay afterward to get to know them. Studies show that simply knowing the other person increases negotiation success rates by 25 to 30%. Recognize and name them. For example, it seems like you're using the good cop, bad cop strategy. This often neutralizes the tactic. Develop your BATNA, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. Having strong alternatives gives you more confidence and leverage. Use negotiation jujitsu to redirect the focus. Ask why they want something, seek their advice, or invite criticism of your ideas to uncover their interests. Let me conclude with a story. In 1964, an American father and his son were playing frisbee in Hyde Park, London. A crowd gathered, intrigued by the unfamiliar sight. A man approached and asked, "Who's winning?" Asking who's winning in negotiation is like asking that in a marriage. If you're focused on winning, you've missed the point. Negotiation is about finding solutions that satisfy both sides. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching. Be better.